Welcome in the Vikings Now. I am your host, Patrick Seatman, and we got a big topic that I want to discuss on today's video. We're going to debate it. Should the Minnesota Vikings cut running back Dalvin Cook? This is a very debatable topic. It's been thrown around Vikings Twitter. I'm going to be looking at it from both sides. I'm going to be giving you guys 3 reasons why I think they should cut him and 3 reasons why I think they should not cut him. This is a different type of video that I'm going to be trying out on today's show. It's just a one-topic video, breaking it down from both sides and giving you guys a more opinion-based answer on this. So if you guys do like these new types of videos, go down and show me and hit that subscribe button. I want to see if we can get to 11K subs off today's video. I think we are 29 away. So if there's 29 of you guys that are watching today's video and aren't subscribed, I ask you, it takes 2 seconds. It's free. It helps me out here. It helps Chat Sports out here. Just go down there, hit that subscribe button. Who knows? Maybe you'll be the lucky one that when you hit it, it hits 11,000 subs. Now let's talk about it. Why the Vikings should cut Dalvin Cook. Like I said, I'm going to be giving you guys 3 reasons on why I think they should cut him, and then 3 reasons why I think they shouldn't cut him. I think this is a very interesting topic that we could debate throughout this whole video and pretty much throughout the offseason until they do it. The number 1 reason, though, for me is he's too expensive. Dalvin Cook and just the running back position in general in the NFL, I've never been the biggest fan of paying running backs, even if it's more than $10 million a year. I said guys like Derrick Henry, Christian McCaffrey, and that's about it as running backs I would pay in the NFL in that 10 to 12 or even that 12 to $15 million per year range. But if we're looking at the cap savings for the Minnesota Vikings and how much they could save by cutting Dalvin Cook, if they cut Dalvin Cook pre-June 1st, they would save $5.8 million. And then they cut him post-June 1st, they would save $9 million. So pretty much with this, Dalvin Cook actually just had a recent shoulder surgery, which guaranteed $2 of this million. So originally it was the Vikings would say $7.8 million if they cut him pre-June 1st, and originally it would have been $11 million post-June 1st, which makes this a little different. But I'm still kind of under the impression that if you can move off and kind of rip this Band-Aid off Dalvin Cook, I say you do it, because if you look at his contract next year, you're not going to be able to save any of these cap savings that you can this year. So if you can take advantage and save that $6 million before free agency kicks in and you have that to go and spend on other more important position groups, I would definitely consider it. Number 2 on my list on why I think the Vikings should cut Dalvin Cook is Dalvin Cook is cooked. I think Dalvin Cook has taken a step back over the past couple of years. And we can throw this up on screen. The rushing yards over expected. This is a... Listen, you can take this with a grain of salt or however you want to take this, but this is a very nerd analytical stat. Rushing yards over expected. So pretty much they go and watch the film, they watch the play breakdown, and they determine how many rushing yards is the running back supposed to get. Starting off, Dalvin, 2018, he had 0.24 yards over expected. Good. Got better in 2019. 2020, Dalvin's best season by far. He had 0.81 rushing yards over expected. But then we've seen it kind of starting to tail off the past couple of years. 2021, only 0.34. And then actually this past season, Dalvin was in the negative. So they're saying if you had an average running back running this Vikings offense, Dalvin did a negative job. He didn't get the most yards he could get. He actually did worse than what was expected. And this past year in the playoffs, Dalvin was the worst running back in the NFL for rushing yards over expected. And if we're looking at the past kind of Super Bowl winners and the running backs of the Super Bowl winning teams, when was the last time a superstar running back has carried a team to the Super Bowl? I just think in the more modern day NFL, I just feel like you don't really need to give all the assets to a running back, especially on the Vikings team where they were 26th in rushing last season. They don't really have a point of emphasis to run the ball, so I don't think you should have a point of emphasis on the cap space at the running back position. I just don't really think it makes too much sense. And plus, if Dalvin was giving you that 2020 production, I would be more inclined to keep him. But if he's giving you that 2022 production, I think it's time to move off. And my 3rd reason on why I think the Minnesota Vikings should cut him, running back is replaceable. I think running back is the most replaceable position in the NFL. It might be the most replaceable position in all of sports. I think it's time to move on. Like I just said, running back, it's a very replaceable position. You can go draft a guy in the 4th round every single year. And I talked to our Cowboys host here. He's kind of dealing with the same thing with Ezekiel Elliott, whether they should keep him or move on. We're both kind of under the impression that if you can get a new running back every 2 years in the 4th round of the NFL draft and you keep him on that rookie contract, I would rather do that. And I do think Ty Chandler, the 6th-round rookie out of North Carolina, who we took in last year's draft. He got no real reps in this past regular season, but he looked great in the preseason. I think Ty Chandler, I think he could step into maybe not a workhorse load, but maybe more of a running back by committee with Ty Chandler, a running back the Vikings draft, and then Kene Nwangwu kind of being that gadget guy, that third down pass catching back, because I do expect Alexander Madison to be the Vikings to move on from him. So I think it's running back. It's Dalvin Cook. Yes, he is getting paid a lot of money, and he hasn't been the most productive over the past couple seasons. I think in the running back position, it's very easy to move on from. I think the Vikings need to do it. So those are my 3 reasons on why I think the Vikings should cut Dalvin Cook. I'm giving you guys 3 reasons on why I think they should keep him. But first, I want you guys to get down in the comments and chime in on this. Do you want to cut Dalvin Cook? I'm going to be making this the pinned comment on today's video. So if an ad break comes right now, take advantage of it, let the ad play, and go down and answer today's pinned poll question. Do you want to cut Dalvin Cook? Type C for cut or type K for keep. Now we're going to talk about why the Vikings should keep him, because I think with anything in life, there's 2 sides to the story, and we got to kind of find that middle ground. Just gave you 3 reasons on why the Vikings should cut him. It's too expensive. Dalvin Cook, he doesn't look as good as in years past, and running back is replaceable. But why I think the Vikings should keep him? Number 1 reason, and it's not even on the field reason. He's a great locker room guy. I know this maybe be a cop-out reason on why I think the Vikings should keep Dalvin Cook, but I think this matters. I mean, Dalvin Cook is a leader in the Minnesota Vikings locker room, and he's overall a great guy. I mean, what he's done for the city of Minneapolis, he is always involved with charities. He's always helping out. Whenever the Vikings post anything on social media with Dalvin Cook, I feel like he's always lending a helping hand, and he is a very big piece in that locker room as just a leader, and he's honestly been a great mentor for these young running backs or just young players in general hitting the NFL. So why keep him? I think he's a great guy. I just think the locker room aspect that he brings is almost undervalued, and I think, you know, it's funny, as a star running back, you never want to say their best attribute is being a locker room guy. But for Dalvin Cook, I think with his production going down in the past couple of years, I think him being a great locker room guy, that is a huge reason to keep him. Number 2 on why the Vikings should keep him as well, another off-the-field reason is the players' reaction to this. I mean, I couldn't imagine. The Vikings have a ton of guys like Eric Kendricks, Adam Thielen too. He would kind of get a reaction if he was cut as well. But I think the players' reaction to Dalvin Cook getting cut would be tough. I think the players would kind of have, not a blow-up in a sense, but I think they would be looking around just kind of being like, damn, they just let go of Dalvin Cook? What does that mean for me? You know, it could be a bad thing or it could be a good thing, but I am worried about this reaction from the players. If they were going to move on and they all got that notification saying, damn, the Minnesota Vikings are moving off Dalvin Cook, I think the players might not be too happy. There's other big-name players in the NFL, such as Keenan Allen. The Chargers are planning on moving off him. I don't think that would generate a big enough or a bigger reaction than the Vikings cut in Dalvin Cook. The players' reaction, obviously it's not a huge reason why to keep him, but if you're looking at Justin Jefferson and a guy like that who is really good friends with Dalvin Cook, if you cut Dalvin, maybe Jefferson's looking at you kind of side-eyed, be like, did we really just cut a top 10 running back in the NFL just to save $6 million on the books? I don't know, something to keep in mind. Number 3 on why I think the Vikings should keep Dalvin Cook, I think he can still be productive. However, I will say this. I think he can be productive in a limited role. There was a report that came out that said Dalvin is not interested in taking a pay cut, which I get. He's a running back in the NFL. He's turning 28. He should be trying to get every cent he can because we know running backs eventually in the NFL, they hit a steep cliff and they fall off it. But I am very curious. If you did have a running back by committee type of situation going on in Minnesota with Dalvin Cook, maybe Ty Chandler getting some more carries, I still think Dalvin can be productive. Because this past season, you look at Dalvin's stats, I mean, he had 1,200 yards, just under 4.5 yards per carry, but he got majority of the Vikings snaps at running back last season, and the Vikings weren't a very productive rushing team. So I would like to see if the Vikings were to keep Dalvin Cook and he doesn't take a pay cut, maybe see how they could play with a more running back by committee type of offensive backfield, type of running back backfield, where it's Ty Chandler on third downs, where it's Dalvin Cook, maybe he takes 2 series off, and it's Ty Chandler on for 2 series, and Kene Nwangwu kind of being the split back and the third down back. I would be very curious to see if Dalvin, if that can increase maybe him going from a 4.4 yards per carry to maybe a 5.1, where it's maybe a little Zeke and Tony Pollard with Dalvin Cook and Ty Chandler. I'll be curious to see if that's something that can increase his production. He had a huge workload this past season, and he wasn't too productive. Thank you guys so much. We're getting to the end of today's video, and if you guys made it to the end, you guys are a real one. A different type of video I'm trying out here on the channel, just a one-topic show where I take both sides, and I want to get your guys' thoughts on this whole show in the comments section. Go down there, answer the pin question, just give me your thoughts, write me a paragraph, dive into this. Do you think the Vikings should cut Dalvin Cook? My overall consensus, I think they do. I think it's time to move on. I think the running back position is easily replaceable. He's making too much money, and frankly, I just don't think he's that good anymore. So if you guys did make it to the end of the video, you're a real one. Type real one down below. And as always, thank you guys so much for watching. Let's go Vikes.